Hey everyone. Well, it is a blistering 93 degrees out this afternoon, but I got off work early and I wanted to do a follow-up to the video where I restored the old Craftsman sander, because it occurred to me last night that I actually had an old drill that belonged to my grandfather, and when he died it was passed down to me, and I used it for many years and then kind of just forgot about it. Ended up with cordless drills and the like. So it's kind of just been sitting around. But so I dug it up, and I'm thinking a good project today would be to bring this thing back to life. Now you can see, I don't know what the manufacturer is. I can't see anything on there. If any of you watching this video happen to know who this manufacturer is, I'd certainly appreciate a heads up, because there is no name on it. But you can see the electrical cord is shot. The case, it's missing screws. It's pretty rusty, but I'm confident something like this, I can get it polished up like we do with the sander. This rust can be taken care of. I'll probably use naval jelly on that, or I could wire brush it. But look, it even has the original key, which would be nice if it actually had a brand name on it. It just says Supreme, and then it says key holder on this side. I don't think it says anything else. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Key holder. So yeah, it looks like a great project. So let's get busy. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take it apart and see about wiring. I've got a good replacement cord here. I think we can save the strain relief. Whew! Well, the insulation is bad. I don't know if the cord itself is bad. There's only one screw, I think, holding this front piece on, and that hopefully will get us right in to the cable. And hopefully I can find another screw to replace this guy. Okay. Something else holding this thing on? Nope. Okay. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see what we got here. We've got a little bit more complex wiring this time. We've got a 3-prong cable. This a B&D. Okay, so look at that. Okay, so this drill is a Black & Decker. That's what it is. A very old Black & Decker, apparently. So, we've got it looks like that's a white, a black, and a green. The green should ground, right? It goes up into the body somewhere in the back. But I think that's what these should do. This strain relief does not look like something I'm going to have any luck with. It appears to be molded around the cable. This is going to be a little more challenging than the sander because of this. If I want to save the strain relief, I don't really know how I'm going to do that. I've actually never seen one like this. It's possible the cable will pull out of it, but I don't know how I'll get another cable into it. But well, we got to cut this cable off anyway, so let me grab some wire cutters. Okay. Yep. All right, so that's a good sign. Of course, the tricky part here is going to be getting this other cable to push into that. Well, I'm hoping you can see everything. I can't actually see what's on the camera screen. I took a guess at basically where we'd be, so if I don't stray too far, I'll have everything in the shot. All right, so I'm going to take our replacement cable. I'm just going to cut this end off here and then try to force it into the strain relief. And if I'm lucky, it'll go. Well, I know I'm in trouble if it's a little tight already. Let me see if I can get some of this out. Whatever it is in here. Seems to be some type of additional insulation in here. Okay, so an update is that I went through my old cables and I found one that is a lighter gauge wire, hence it's smaller. So I think this will work. As if I can get it to go all the way up and through this end down here. It's right at the end. I just got to get it through there, and I'm not averse to tearing this part a little bit of the strain relief, but we're right to the end. All right, so I'm gonna pause the camera, but the agenda is I just gotta open this hole up a little bit so I can push this through. I'm almost there. It's just starting to poke through. I may actually have it. Let me go to, if I can get the camera here, I'm gonna go to this vise here. Can you see it? Let me lower the thing so I can see. It's high up on the bench. I gotta get a bench where I can walk around on all four sides. Let's just use this thing. Almost. I think we're through. Alright, well, I was going to pause the camera so you didn't have to watch that. I think we're essentially through. Yeah, it's tight, but it's through. Alright, so now we'll go back to here. Now I should be able to grab it and just pull it through. Yep. Okay. Whew. When you're stripping double insulated wire like this, you got to be careful not to go through both layers. That'll cause problems. Okay, so let me look at what we're dealing with here. I'm gonna go through. Yeah, this won't be too difficult. The insulation on these two, this black and this white, and to the lesser extent that green one, literally feels like rubber. Really weird. All right, so for these guys, we're gonna get the heat gun. I'm gonna solder them. There's really, I don't think there's enough room in here for wire nuts. Just don't think so. So we're gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. I'll be right back. Okay, no fancy crimp connectors today. Just old school shrink tubing. Because we don't have a lot of room. All right, we're gonna twist these wires together. And when I say that, I don't mean twist one around the other. I mean sincerely try to get them to twist around each other, not just one wrapping around the other one. You want a good connection, and you want a better lock so the wires don't slide off each other. Try to get them to twist together. One's wrapping around the other, and the other is wrapping around the one. That piece of insulation is going to be in the way. I really need to invest in some more appropriate flux. All I've got is this stuff. It's a little bit much. Okay. Unplug the soldering iron because we're done with it. At least I hope. You know, you're kind of guessing when you're in something this old that those wires are the same, but I think they are. All right, let me grab the heat gun. Just what I need. Oh, I apologize for the low rumble that you're all probably hearing. That is the fan in here, the ceiling ventilation fan, because it's just so hot. I know the audio track would be cleaner without it. All right, so we are bending these wires like that so that the shrink tubing can then slide completely over it. If I bent it the other way, it'd be a little trickier. I'm not saying you couldn't do that, but I wouldn't. All right. that thing cool off a bit. All right, next I gotta find some screws. Should be cool. Okay, I gotta go in my hardware bin and find a couple of screws to replace this guy. I'll be right back. All right, well, much to my surprise, it looks to me like I found them. Actually, I grabbed one that's too short. Now, for the life of me, I couldn't tell you where I came across these. Estate sale, something like that. Oddly enough, they're all painted white, so that's unique. But on the other hand, that seems to be the exact size that I need. I'll slide this guy up. Let's see if we're gonna have enough room in there for everything. Strain leaf goes there. Wiring goes in there. Nope, still don't have it. I think this green wire is going to prove to be an issue with this, because I gotta be careful, because there are no screws that hold this in up here. There's only the two bottoms. I thought I was done, and then I looked at it and it snapped apart again. And again, it's like nothing will put it back together. So again, I'm going to take it apart. And see, I just don't get it. Okay, it seems it's nice and tight now. It seems if I tighten these screws up a little too tight, it splits it open. So they seem to have a natural spot where they're comfortable. I'm not, but this plastic is all warped. I don't know how old this thing is. 60s maybe? But let's see what we can do with some polish on it. It's certainly working right away. All right. Let's take a coat off and let's see. All right, as before. Woo! Wow, look at that. Before, after. Seems like it's worth polishing this guy. All right, I'll keep going. All right, that's about one coat. Is it before? After. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't know how much use I'll be giving this thing, so I don't know how perfect I'm thinking I have to make it. Got some piece of a rag in there. All right, let's do the other side. I'll be back. I'm gonna polish it up. All right, in the last video I had talked about how when I did the Craftsman sander, I talked about, you know, if you polish these things enough, they can get pretty shiny. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put a polishing pad on a Dremel tool. And we're gonna see. We're gonna probably see how it's gonna throw polish all over me, but we're gonna just do it anyway. See how it immediately gets black? Working. I need two hands to hold this thing though. See that? Look at how much better it's getting. All right, let's try it. Another coat. So probably in a few minutes, I'll be able to get this thing to look pretty shiny. And it'll probably splash all over me, which is expected. I'm trying to go very slow because it's going to make a mess this way. You don't have to push down too hard, just let the polish do it. Alright, let's take that off and let's see how shiny it is. I'm gonna have to get all that black off too. And then we'll compare it to just steel wool on one side. And we'll see if it's a big difference. I would think it would be, but... Oh, that looks nice. It does. Alright. That's with the polishing, steel wool and polishing, and that's just wow. See, if I keep going, this thing will literally look like a mirror finish. You can start to see it already really coming through. Let's get this other side. Okay, so unfortunately the camera overheated and I didn't realize it and we missed a few steps. I used the wire brush here on the chuck to clean that up, so that's good. I was going to use navel jelly, but then I thought, oh, well, that'll probably work, and it did. And what I did was I actually ran the drill up against, I turned the drill on, I pressed the trigger, and the drill spun with the wire brush, and that cleaned it up really in about 20 seconds. For the black, to get that looking good, I actually used this bumper trim, and it shined it up well. So overall, you know, I'm very happy with how it came out. It's too bad these plastic pieces are kind of warped, so it looks like it fits loose. These screws, it looks like they're not all the way in. They absolutely are. I was able to replace the other screw and get it to thread. I had to use a slightly larger screw to get it to thread in, but it's good. I gotta be careful. I got grease all over and polish and forever black all over my gloves, so I keep making it worse, and my hand isn't much better. I should have been wearing two gloves, but I couldn't find the other one of these. But anyway, this was an interesting project. I'm happy I did it. It was my grandfather's old drill. It's now usable again. It's, at least, if nothing else, it's safe. And it was a very unique experience because I know my grandfather had rewired it, you know, 45, 50 years ago. And here I was redoing it. And to be honest, I use this drill a lot. I use cordless now, and for heavy things I have a Craftsman 120 volt that's a hammer drill and all that I use for really heavy duty work. But this drill here, this got me through most of the work on my first house. I used it for everything, and it was a good drill. It was reliable. It still works. It's a Black & Decker, I guess, even though the only identifying mark was a BD on the cable. But I gotta say, it was interesting because when my grandfather must have taken this apart, he had the same obstacles I came. It just didn't want to go back together. There was probably a certain way, and I noticed that inside there was a broken piece of plastic that he must have broken when he took it apart, and that piece of plastic was to hold the wires in a certain spot, and without that it was a little trickier, because that was the guide to get it back together. And that might be the obstacle he had, but I'm really not sure. But I now know why it was always looking kind of rickety. It wasn't just missing a screw. That screw hole had been stripped out, so he couldn't put the same screw back in. So he put the whole handle back together with just that one screw. I was able to put a larger screw in and get the handle together. It polished up nice. It looks pretty. The aluminum or metal, I think it's aluminum, actually shined up really well. The black looks good. The chuck looks good. I'm sorry, I'm sweating. It is 93 degrees out. I'm in the garage, but anyway, to wrap this up, please like and subscribe if you like this type of content. I've got more coming. I always have more projects to do. I'm about to hit the road, going to Nashville. I'm going to be working with my brother on a couple of projects that he's got going. His channel is What the Rust, and I highly recommend it, especially if you like automotive work. And he basically can get almost any vehicle running. Tractors, Model Ts, you know, mostly 50s and 60s and 70s cars. If it hasn't run for 30, 40 years, he goes out there, he gets them going. It's a pretty interesting channel, so check it out. That's What the Rust. For my channel, please like and subscribe. It really helps. It's a growing channel. It hasn't been around for long, about 7 months now. And hey, if you want to take on a project like this, you got an old drill, pretty easy to rewire, real easy to polish, real easy to clean up. Little hard to get it back together if it's one of these, but I'm sure you can handle it. We just handled it. You saw how I did it, so you got no excuse. Don't be intimidated. Just go out, get busy. Take care.